A lot of you may be feeling resigned, pissed off, or frustrated with what's going on in the world today. And you know what? I get it. It's competitive for all of us in today's marketplace. Whether you are an employee looking for advancement in your career or veteran-owned business looking for a clientele to expand your runway to continue to do what you love. In this episode, my promise to you as an ambitious vet is you're going to walk away with the negotiation, resourcefulness, and training basics that you may have forgot that were instilled inside of you, inside your military training. Stay tuned.
She says, "Oh, I thought you were studying English." I said, "No, I'm a bachelor's in social work with a minor in strategic entrepreneurship." She said, "Well, why are you doing so much English?" I said, "Because that's where I must improve." I was taking every writing class from 101 whatever to 300 to 400 series. Every semester, I always had something that was either writing or speaking because I knew where I fell short.
Today's show is going to be brought to you by Combat Flip-Flops. Ambitious Vet, it's hard to come by things that just make you feel naturally good in today's world that we live in, right? Well, not really. What if you could actually buy some footwear that could be like a victory cigar for your soul? Well, that is Combat Flip-Flops. Not only is it, was co-founded by two different Special Forces Army guys, but they've been able to sit into or stand inside of the Shark Tank and actually win over Mark Cuban as an investor. If you don't believe me, go in and check out combatflipflops.com. Every purchase funds one day of school for an Afghan girl. They're made in anywhere from Laos, Colombia to Afghanistan, and they even have a badass lifetime warranty. If you are ready for your next flip-flops to enjoy this hot summer weather in your world, or just more apparel, more gear that has more of an inspiring message despite of what's going on in the world, go check out combatflipflops.com. If you find anything you like, make sure to enter in code AMV Network to get your 25% off discount on us. Again, that's combatflipflops.com. Welcome to the Ambitious Vet Podcast, where we believe that if you desire more than you have in any area of life, you have to become more in the process. My name is Chris Hoffman, Marine Corps combat veteran turned social entrepreneur, family man, and personal and professional development leader. On this show, we dive into the trenches with big thinking and conscious veterans who know what it takes to not only pay the bills after the military, but really live with a sense of purpose, satisfaction, and career fulfillment we all desire most after financial stability is no longer a challenge to overcome. If you haven't already, Ambitious Vet, grab your pen and paper. It's time to gain the golden grenades needed to break through your fear barriers and live a life of purpose with passion.
It's time to get into the trenches, dig into your purpose, and fire up your life's fulfillment. The Ambitious Vet Podcast starts now.
What's going on, Ambitious Vet? Welcome right back inside the trenches. Today we got Miss Laurie Sayles. She's a U.S. Marine veteran turned entrepreneur, leader, advocate, motivational speaker, and writer and author of a book, As My Leaders Go, So Do I. She's been awarded Washington Business Journal 2020 Veterans in Business Award, 2019 Maryland Women Veteran Entrepreneur of the Year, and also VIB Network's Above and Beyond Award. 2018 Civility MS, her company was selected as one of 100 minority businesses in the Maryland, DC, and Virginia area, and many more achievements showcasing just her impact inside the veteran and minority advocacy and business initiatives and life work that she's been able to do. And Ambitious Vet, this has all come from a low-income family out of Chicago. So, Miss Laurie Sayles, are you there?
Yes, I am here and so excited and honored to spend time with a fellow Marine talking about how we get it done.
How we get it done. And you definitely have done that, Laurie. You've done an amazing job. As I was saying before we hit record here, is like I did a lot of homework on you because we take pride in pulling out the best of guests and leaders like yourself. They're really leading the charge in the trenches. So it's all can just follow the breadcrumbs, right?
Yes.
And you've just done an amazing job. You've won more awards, but you're also always looking to get better, is what I love. And where do you think that comes from?
Ah, I can go back to my home, but in my home, it was all about teaching us how to survive because we're in low income. You just have to survive. But the United States Marine Corps, make no mistake, introduced me to 110, right? That's how you were expected to operate. And being a woman that happened to be African American, I had to operate more like 130, 140 to make sure that I was respected and accepted and acknowledged along with my Marine comrades. So I would have to say it started when I got in the Marine Corps, knowing that I have to be better, I have to do better. I cannot be average.
Right. That makes sense. And first to fight, right?
That's right. That's right. We can't get in there saying, oh, I'm a woman, I can't do this. And I'm a woman, I don't want to run X amount of miles. I mean, not that some didn't do that, because some did. I was the one that was set apart because I was like, no, if he can run 5 miles, I can run 5 miles. So yeah, I've always, that's a drive, right?
Right.
Not competing, but you just want to be part of the team.
Yeah. And what's awesome is you've done a really good job as far as repurposing that drive into the civilian sector and like really killed it inside of business and really translated your skills in a way that can build teams and really create high level results, which I think a lot of ambitious vets that are listening to this, maybe you ambitious vet, can really learn from. So
yes.
First and foremost, I just want to dive into, coming from the projects of Chicago, being one of the leading female veterans now, transforming policies in today's federal government system. That's a hell of a journey coming from, Chicago. I mean, I'm from St. Louis, we're right down the street.
Yeah, right down the street. Yeah.
Right down the street, right? That's a long journey to now become one of the women leading policy, right? And you've advocated, been in front of big government officials and stuff like that. That's a hell of a journey, right, to undertake. But I want you to take us back to those humbling beginnings when you first got out of the Marine Corps in '89, right? With no ambitious vet, there was no transitional programs back then, right? So you kind of had to scratch and claw her way, right?
No,
so like
not at all. I mean, the conversation was more like realist. No one's talking about the exit strategy and what you need to do next. And have you considered this as a civilian? No one's using that terminology. They just want you to re-enlist.
Right.
So the transition was, so it was going to the newspaper and look at job ads and get it done. I landed in the DMV area, the District of Columbia, Maryland, Virginia, the DMV, and they had headhunters. And headhunters are individual companies that hired people for other companies. I mean, they were out and about trying to find you. And I utilized headhunters in order to adapt to the civilian world, because at least through them, they were giving you some type of coaching. They would fix your resume up a little bit, But considering I really didn't know how to translate what I had been doing in the military for them to understand in layman terms, all I knew is I wanted to be in a corporate environment. Right. That's all I knew. So receptionist is where they landed me over and over and over again. So I was a receptionist in a lot of offices in Washington, D.C. Before landing my first job, which was as a receptionist in the Maryland area. So it was a really tough transition, but it was nothing like getting a job. I mean, I wasn't a kid. I served about 7 years and I went in at 21. So I was like 28, 29 years old. So I knew I had to make a living. I needed to survive. And it was just exciting to be offered a job. I get to walk into a corporate building and put on like a little jacket with some heels and act like, yeah, no more combat boots. I can do this. And then find out, it's like, what's 401k? You don't automatically give me medical and dental. I mean, all these like reality checks.
Yeah. You're going to take this percentage of my check, right?
Yeah. And one thing, that was major was that, we're not taught how to negotiate when you serve. You do what I tell you to do. When I tell you to do it, now how I tell you to do it, right? So the negotiation, I mean, even the HR man, when he offered me the position, he asked, he said, are you sure you want to take on this position at this rate? I'm like, yes, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you. Where do I sign?
Yeah.
I mean, my energy was like just like glad that somebody found me, interesting and well enough to be offered a job. It was a big deal. But in the end, it's called negotiating, and it's mandatory out here in the civilian world. I mean, it's like mandatory. I don't care what you're doing. You have to learn how to negotiate.
Yeah. So let's kind of unpackage that a little bit, because I got it. You got into a receptionist job and you were just excited. I think an ambitious vet that's listening to this right now. Yeah, I was just like that. I was that person. I was just grateful to have that first opportunity. And, I got that financial stability, and then it was just, potentially wanted to go up from there. Right. Yeah. Now, walk us through, because you say negotiation and stuff like that. What was the moment that had you realize, like, hey, I've got to start learning how to speak my value and learning how to navigate through that communication style? What was the moment that had you had the aha moment?
The aha moment was because I was fortunate to get a temporary assignment now that I'm back in my hometown in Chicago. So that means I've been out maybe 6 years, and I'm back in Chicago, and I have a temp assignment working in the human resources office. And they placed me in a room that was like a big closet, but it was a confidential room. Why? Because all the salaries for every position in the hospital was in that room I was working in. So I was basically doing some filing and organizing and getting everything together. But my eyes got a chance to see that a nurse can actually come in making $30,000, but she can make up to $90,000. I'm like, wow. So every position had this broad range that I could now visually see. I don't care what the position was. And worse yet, I got a chance to see that some people that had just got hired was making more money than the people that had been working there for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years. Because they came and they negotiated, obviously. Not only the people that are still working there had not been negotiating for their increases. So these individuals that were newly hired, I mean, I'm talking like $10, $15, $20,000 difference. I'm not talking like a couple of thousand. It was significant within the range. And so it was just a lesson to learn in that fashion. But then now I had to learn how to do it for myself. But just at least finding out that there is a range, because I never knew that.
Yeah.
Because in the military, that's not your story. You have an amount that you get paid, and it's based on how many years you get a certain amount added to that. You know what I mean? It's all exact, right? There is not a range.
There's no gray areas.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I love that idea. And I think that there's an ambitious vet that's in here that's scared to negotiate right now. That's a mid-level manager that may be like, I'm either furloughed, looking at where the next opportunity is, or, is this, in a current career that's just like, man, after this COVID stuff passes and we're in the recovery phase, I would love to increase, my cash flow, right? And then, if you look at the stats, which I'm sure you have, being a veteran advocate, is that, 43% are leaving within their 12 months because they're not challenged enough, they're underemployed, they're not getting enough, and they're leaving jobs. So like, what would be one technique that you use to have you either go into a corporation and be like, hey, this is how much I'm worth, and have them pay for you, share a story, or, you're inside of a corporation. You're just like, hey, look, like, I'm not going to work anymore unless you pay me this amount of money.
Well, I'll go from what I know today.
Nice.
What I know today is that you need to go on the internet and Google, find out from salary.com, indeed.com, or any other areas there that offers salaries, and see the range for the title of the position that you have, where you are residing, and where you're desiring to get this job. If you are living in Chicago and you want to work in New York, how much do they pay in New York for the title? Not the job description. Hence, one of the matter of facts for me was all of these different modes of titles. I'm like, well, what do you do every day, right?
Yeah.
Not knowing that title actually is directly correlated to your salary. So that would be what I would say. First, do that. At least you find out. the range that you need to be operating within. And then, of course, whether you got a degree, whether you got years of experience in there, that's one thing. But as military people, it is your discipline, it is your order, it is your ability to take orders as well as give them. The knowing that you take responsibility for your actions, because we were taught that, at least in the Marine Corps. I am learning that every branch of the military gets exactly the same training. But I got to talk from a Marine because that's what I know. You know, it is what it is. You know, you were taught to be held accountable for what your actions were. And now, matter of fact, not just my actions, but yours too. If I was with you and you did something you didn't supposed to do, and I didn't check you and help you fix that, I was just as accountable as you, right?
That's yeah. Everyone suffered.
Exactly. It has nothing to do with whether you were, had your back turned or you saw a person actually do it. You were present. You need to take accountability. So nonetheless, it's those attributes that military people bring that is above and beyond the average civilian worker. Just because, if they didn't have it, now let's give some credit. Will Smith recently announced that, his father served in the military, which had a lot to do with his discipline and structure of who he is today and why he's continued to be successful. But if you didn't get it in your house and you didn't serve, you'll find out very quickly when you get into the civilian world that they just don't operate at the level that you can. And that's money. That's worth something because you're adding to their team. You're adding to their company. Yeah. And when you come in there and they see that you are a get it done person, that you don't slack, you're a team player. How can I help? Meeting deadlines, that's worth a lot. It's more than your actual expertise. It's the fact that you are a good employee to them. That's worth 50% of your salary.
Right. Yeah, and then some veterans are getting out and getting into corporation for the first time, and they don't know how to quantify like those soft skills, right? Yeah. So like sometimes you got to be inside the corporate world, and this is one thing I wish I would have done, Ambitious Vet, as well, is just documenting the progress, the quantifiable results I produced. I didn't document anything. I was just in there, pop, pop, pop. All right, it's a weekend. I'm going to go hang out. The boys.
Giving solutions to problems and being able to say, I saved the company, $50,000 because I came in and implemented ABC. Right. Once I came on board, nobody had, remember these desktop procedures? Nobody had any desktop procedures. I implemented that in the office. Now, when anyone is out, someone can sit down and do that person's job. That was required in the military. Right. Not every office has those. And I have implemented that a lot of office I was working for. Quite a few. Yeah. And that structure has us thrive. If we have structure, if we have a roadmap, I mean, we're off to the races. So yeah, that's awesome. It's awesome that you're setting people up for success. So, I want to kind of unpackage that a little bit more because I love that you just dove into negotiation and stuff like that. And in today's world, we have to adapt in our communication styles where 75% of the essential workforce is communicating digitally right now and like barely swimming above water on how to do that. Right. And us as military, specifically ambitious vets that are always looking to improve in the trenches every day, we already have a language barrier where we're always trying to make something happen in communication, like commanding and, just force an outcome, however you want to communicate about us. Right. But what would be ways that we can actually communicate in an influential and persuasive way digitally in today's world? Because let's face it, that's a gap too that we got to overcome. Mm-hmm. And actually, I recall sitting with you beforehand to prepare for this, just to see if I would qualify. And I must admit, I was very impressed. I thought you were very articulate. Considering you are part of the new veteran community. I'm from the old school. I've been out since '89. Because I was very impressed. I was very impressed. I'm like, okay. So I would have to say you have to study people up, and again, the value we have now today is all this technology. So use it. YouTube, podcasts, doing audible books. so that you can hear people having conversations in a way that's non-military and implementing that and learning some key words that fit you, that you can say that you're comfortable with sharing when you're talking with people, like saying awesome. In the military, what do we say? Outstanding.
Get back to work.
Exactly. Outstanding job, Marine, outstanding.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of other words to use other than outstanding. Okay,
I love that.
So that would be one thing that I'll add that I did not do until later in life. TED Talks, all of that kind of stuff. Now, I'm an intentional listener to how to continue. Like you say, I'm always striving to be better, and I am. Because I'm from the hood, so I remember how I used to talk. I didn't sound anything like this. I still have a heavy voice. I don't know how to have a lilt and do that. That's not me. But nonetheless, I know street language. I knew cursing in the Marine Corps. Do you think I survived as a woman, as African American, without a mouth that spoke to what I really mean to say with very few words?
Yeah.
Get out here now, I have a whole sentence and ask it kindly. You know what I mean? But still all in the effort for what? Get it done. So that would be my thoughts on that, as far as for people to really take advantage of the digital that's available. Make it purposeful. That you sit and study up your area of improvements for you, because you know what your shortages are.
Yeah, if we're honest and we look ourselves in the mirror, right?
Yes, we know exactly what they are. And I can say this part, when I went back to school with the University of Maryland University College, my counselor thought I was in school to get my bachelor's in English. She says, "Oh, I thought you were studying English." I said, "No, I'm a bachelor's in social work with a minor in strategic entrepreneurship." She said, "Well, why are you doing so much English?" I said, "Because that's where I must improve." I was taking every writing class from 101 whatever to 300 to 400 series. Every semester, I always had something that was either writing or speaking, because I knew where I fell short. And others, helped me by understanding it, because they either cracked a joke against it or they sat down with me and had a real conversation and said, this is an area that I needed to improve. Because, in the military, we even write a certain way, right?
Yeah, we do.
So, you have to really make that transition, but it has to be purposeful. It's not just going to happen.
Yeah, what I hear is just being intentional with your gaps and
Yes.
filling those and stuff like that. That's great. So Ambitious Vet, we're going to take a real quick 10-second commercial break, and then we right back in the trenches. And once we come back, we're actually going to be diving into where this whole source of her always looking to improve and how she adopted that into her civility MS company right when we get back. We'll be right back, Ambitious Vet. Ambitious Vet, have you ever wanted to carry a watch that you're proud of? Maybe you want to feel more bolder or more original. Wear a watch that most people are not wearing, right? Well, if that's you, check out Original Grain Watches. It's co-founded by a Marine Corps veteran and his brother. And what they're best known for is their craftsmanship that goes into each design and the stories that are told about each and every reusable raw material. For example, I currently have the Classic, which is amazing. It's a watch that, and I've wore Rolexes, I've wore like Invictos, which is a off-brand, like nice watch brand, and big faces. And this watch in particular gets the most just compliments. Ambitious Vet is the best way I could describe it, because of this steel, the stainless steel that they use, the natural hardwood, and their original bold look of it. If you don't believe me, go check it out at originalgrain.com. If you like any of their premium watches there, make sure that you get a 10% discount on us by entering AMV Network 10 to get your 10% discount. Now back to the show. All right, Ambitious Vets, we're right back inside the trenches with Miss Laurie Sayles. I'm excited. There's already been some amazing golden grenades being spit out all throughout this interview, and I'm excited to dive into the source of what had this woman constantly be in the trenches looking to improve, even though she may have had that good old financial stability out of the uniform. What had her constantly look for more? and how she filled those gaps. So, Laurie, one thing I love about you from doing all the homework on you, and even the bio that you sent, which was very, detailed as well, you were always looking to fill those gaps inside your business. What it looked like as far as your own individual company, Civility Management Solutions, right, is you were constantly going into piloted programs like MD Cohort 1, Goldman Sachs, 10,000 Small Business Program, and continued formal education, always looking to improve, right? Which I think every aspiring entrepreneur, thought leader, anybody wanting to become more needs to be doing, right?
Yes.
So why do we do that as an ambitious vet? And what came from those programs and those experiences for you in your business and your life?
Well, first of all, I'm a praying woman, so I ask for a lot of things that I have today, and so most of those pilot programs came to me. They came and landed on my lap and said, "Laurie, are you interested in being in this program? This is the first time we're doing it in the Baltimore area. Goldman Sachs. It's been around forever, but if you were in the past, you had to get on a plane and go somewhere to have that training or do it online." Whereas now they want to bring one to the Baltimore area. And so I said, sure. And so I participated and I got selected. With that one, it was a lot of focus on overall businesses, not so much government. And yet we really, really, really leaned in on us learning our pitch. Oh my God. We practiced our pitch first thing in the morning. We practiced our pitch right after lunch. We practiced our pitch before we left for the day. Matter of fact, they wouldn't let you go home unless you said it one more time. I mean, it was consistent. But what was that doing? It was drilling us as owners of our businesses of the importance of your presentation, and you must get it down. You must be able to just, the elevator pitch needs to just flow out of you naturally. And we were constantly fine-tuning it as we were going. And then they also delved really deeply into the finances. We had to all bring in our financial reports, and they got into a lot of that. But when they got over into the leadership and the marketing and things of that area, for me, it wasn't a heavy lift. But for some, I'm sure they really needed that, right? Again, I do government contracting. So with doing government contracting, it's a certain type of marketing. I can't take what people are doing in stores or and apply it to what I do. It's specific when you're dealing with the federal government. So that was that one. Then I also got invited to attend this one was fun, the pilot program that VA put together, the Office of Small Business Development Utilization.
Wow.
And we're called Vet Biz Ladies. I was called upon to participate in that, and actually gave a couple of names of other people that they should contact to participate. But the bottom line is that the leadership there in the Department of Veterans Affairs Oswald office, Ms. Ruby Harvey, she realized that, we are doing extremely well satisfying our service-disabled veteran-owned small business members. But what we're not doing is meeting the goals of the federal government for women-owned businesses. So they thought, why don't we do something to specifically outreach to women veterans that are service-disabled, and help educate them and teach them, put them in front of stakeholders, find out where the holes are to make sure that the VA is some agency that they would be interested in doing business with. And it's been very successful for them just out the gate. I know some people have had some success. We do have contracts with the Department of Veterans Affairs, and I'm looking to branch off into telehealth.
Nice.
Yes, and I'm really, really excited about that, as well as some IT. So I'm really looking forward to transitioning into some really heavy duty work with the VA, because we're veterans, and of course supporting the VA, that's a given. It's like us supporting our own branch of the military. We would love to do that. So that was another program, and they're going to do another one soon. And then another program I participated in was local, over at Bowie State University. They did a program specifically for minority businesses that are 8A within the federal government. And SBA, the Washington, D.C. district, actually funded some of that training for the cost. And they have now done, I think, 3 or 4 sessions since we've left. So in other words, they found that it was very beneficial for us. They allowed us to meet potential teaming partners. They brought in great instructors of people that have grown from sitting at the kitchen table to now running $30, $40 million businesses. They didn't bring in any small change. They brought in people that had done it and knew exactly where we were with the struggle of trying to get to the other side. So those are three of the programs that I participated in that added great value. And again, they landed in my lap, but I'm a Marine. Let me just say this. Military people in general, the reason why we're the best in the world is training. You have to consistently to look out to receive training in whatever your service area that you decide to land in, meaning as far as your industry, no matter what your job is. You should always try to be better by consistently going back to school, learning something, whether it's an online thing, whether it's an actual classroom, whether it's a conference or a day. You have to consistently, because the people that are doing it, like me, we're going to leave you behind. Because you're too cocky to think that you need more information about what you already know. Like my pastor say, better is always available.
That's powerful stuff. That's a golden grenade in itself. That's awesome. Yeah, ambitious vet. And I hope you got something from that. I'm sure you did. But always be looking at where is that thing you want to improve. Maybe there's a new piloted program, a course that's right there in front of you that you keep looking at. You may just be putting off. Find a way to throw yourself into it and learn along the way. And it sounds like you've done a great job at doing that, Laurie. 100%. So I kind of want to transition a little bit. I want to move into kind of like our last pre-screening conversation. We were talking about how the struggle's real, right? We got to fight to survive more than ever right now. In one of the most competitive job markets that I've ever experienced in my 31 years, close to 32 years and 10 days. But also I can only imagine the competition in government and corporate contracts that you guys are experiencing during this time, right? So like, how do we fight to survive during these times? And how do we bring in like our integrity, our leadership, our teamwork, these soft skills that we're known for you specifically, a Marine, military veteran, stuff like that? How do we actually bring that, survive, but also thrive inside of a marketplace that's extremely competitive?
We have to be agile, right? The key word that everybody's been using is pivot. Well, right. It's just a key word, but the reality is you have to do that. One thing that's great about serving is that you learn how to be adaptable, flexible. It doesn't matter what the instructions was 5 minutes ago. The new instruction is this. And that's what you have to follow and you have to go by. I don't know if you had this happen when you served, but when we were in boot camp, they gave a piece of paper to the person in the first seat. And they read it. And so it was that responsibility of that woman Marine, well, we were all recruits that woman recruit to tell the person behind her. It maybe like 10 seats deep. And so, of course, the person at the end had to stand up and say what she was told, which should be what was on that piece of paper. And it was amazing to see how much the story had changed. So they were letting us know you have to be able to follow instructions and be able to repeat it to somebody else. Because when I tell you to go left, don't go right, because you're killing everybody, right? This is not as simple as running a red light. This is real, live or die scenarios, right? That you're not going to get a ticket. Somebody can die. So with that being said, when it comes to making sure that you are attentive to getting information and being able to share with other people and making sure it's on point every single time, it's huge.
Yeah. What is it? Timely and relevant? Stay timely and relevant?
Exactly. Yeah. Each one, teach one, whichever little thing you want to apply to that.
Did I love it.
Because it can make and break things. It becomes something that you get a reputation for. I have a reputation. Laurie says what she means and she means what she says.
Yeah. And I would risk to say, but I feel confident in saying this, that whatever you say, people know is going to happen too, because you're a woman of integrity. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's great.
Thank you for that.
Ambitious Vet, we're going to take our last 10-second break. Right when we get back with Laurie, we're going to dive into her 3 golden grenades. She probably has 10 more left, but 3 golden grenades for you to stay unstuck in your life, career, and business. We'll be right back. What's going on, Ambitious Vet? Are you tired of gyms opening up and closing, and then also what to do with those old dusted just dumbbells out back? Well, I encourage you to check out Brute Force Sandbags, a veteran-owned lifestyle brand, which focuses on the gear, the training, and the lifestyle you need to train accordingly. And more importantly, during these times, avoid that COVID-19 body and also create longevity within your business. Yes, your career, but also your body, right? With sandbags, as we all know from us military members that have moved those around throughout combative environments and just in field training, they work every stabilizer muscle on the planet. Go out and train accordingly by checking out Brute Force Sandbags today. All right, Ambitious Vet, we're right back inside the trenches with Laurie Sayles. It's been Golden Grenade City that we've been walking through this whole time, talking about different varieties on how we can thrive during this surviving age that we could easily perceive this as, and multiple other golden grenades of just constant never-ending improvement and how you can do that in your everyday life. But we're going to go ahead and sum this whole show up and however Laurie wants to do it. And Laurie, what would be 3 golden grenades that you could drop in right now, like wisdom bombs that could help this ambitious vet that's listening to this episode right now stay unstuck in their life, career, and business?
Transition from the buddy scenario that we have in the military to networking. When you meet people, maintain that relationship. It doesn't matter what level they are now, what level you need them to be. Just maintain the relationship, nurture the relationship, because you never know where it's going to take you. Right now, I'm talking to a guy that's about to be my point person for cybersecurity that I met over 10 years ago, before I was president and CEO of this company. And he's volunteering himself up to me. Can I be your point person for cybersecurity? I already know his reputation. Of course, the answer would be yes. So make sure that you're networking and that you're meeting the right people, consistently seeking out the right people, and show up. Don't register for an event and don't go. Oh my God. Because I think that's one of the worst things I experienced going to some trainings. And you can see the list, right? There may be like 30 people on the list. And you know how they have you to check the little box and say you attend? And you get there and you might see a few names that actually been checked off. And then when you actually sit in the session, there's all these empty seats. I'm like, people, when I came, I saw like 30 names. I expected this room to be packed, and it wasn't. And then stay. When the session is over, go up, introduce yourself. This is the bold moves. Go up and introduce yourself and say, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm interested in this, I'm interested in that. So that now you can form that relationship with that facilitator. They identify with who you are. So that's a big deal. Showing up, networking, and maintaining relationships. And this is something that the military gives us, discipline. Stay disciplined about it. Reflect all your tenacity that you have in you, the resilience that you have in you. Remember, if you have to, how you had to crawl through that barbed wire and you didn't want to go. You didn't want to go. Are you stupid? I am not crawling through no dirt today. But you did it. You came out on the other side. Have those moments in your mind to remind yourself about, I can get through this. And so taking each one of those steps consistently, because let's be honest, it's here. Our defeat is here. The reason why we survived in the military, because we had to go inside a year and make it happen.
Yeah.
It doesn't change because you become a civilian. It's about the mindset.
Yeah. And you've done a good job investing into it. Formal education, street knowledge, which, emotional intelligence is a real deal on how to deal with difficult people. And
yes, it is.
Right, exactly.
You hit a target right there. Difficult people.
Oh, yeah. And they're always out there. Bob's always out there. So, Laurie Sayles, how can an ambitious vet that's listening to this and just like, I want to know more about her book or Civility MS, where can we go find out more about you, your initiatives, and your advocacy projects that you're out there doing in the trenches?
Well, Civility Management Solutions. Our website has more than enough information about who we are, what we do, and who we service. I am a huge advocate, so I'm attached to VetForce. And if you are a veteran that is interested in government contracting, I highly recommend you look up VetForce and become part of that movement, which is to make sure that we as veterans are getting our fair share in government contracting. I've actually been a point person that's going to be coming out real soon, a coalition for women veterans. So contacting me on LinkedIn, of course, at Laurie Sayles, and making a direct connection to me. And I'll always point you in the right direction. I will always do that. And then as far as learning a little bit more of the intimacy side of me and some of who I was and what I've gone through, my this and that moves, to really show you some of the tricks of what I've attached to my life that has made a difference for me. One of them, looking into the mirror and having a real conversation with yourself, and then making choices from that. My book is As My Leaders Go, So Do I. And it's lauriesayles.com. So pretty much if you got Laurie Sayles down, you can find me out there. And it's just been an honor to sit with you and to talk about the journey and to share with others that you can do it. And I am so encouraged to do that because I don't want anybody to take as long as it took me. I'm so grateful I don't look my age, but I've been around a little bit and I've had a long journey to land where I am. And I realized none of it was a waste of time because I use it all, from being a receptionist to if I can teach the person that sits at my front desk how to answer that phone. I don't need nobody else to train her. I know how to do that. I've been an executive assistant. I know what kind of person needs to support me. I know all the things that they should do to make sure my job is easier because they're there for me. And I know what it is to be a project manager, manage a lot of people and a lot of different contracts, and know that it's all about the relationships. You have to be nice to people. I don't care how you're feeling. I don't care how you feel. Fix it. Get yourself together because you want to be seen as a nice person that is going to get the job done and is going to be approachable. So let go some of those habits that you have. That's the reality about it. That you have that you need to fix.
Yeah.
Don't use PTSD as an excuse.
Don't do it. No, too many of us. I've done it in the past. I think a lot of veterans fall victim to that. But I love this message, Laurie, and Ambitious Vet. Go and check out all the resources, all the tools, and all the work that she's doing. She went from the streets of Chicago all the way to being one of the leading female veterans, transforming federal policies in the nation, and she's incredible. So it was an honor to sit down with you, Laurie, and thanks for joining the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
The Ambitious Vet is available on all popular podcast platforms. Go to vettrainingcoaching.com to subscribe, rate, and share with fellow vets.
Again, today's show is brought to you by Combat Flip Flops. If you haven't heard of Ambitious Vet, go and check them out at combatflipflops.com. And if you like anything that they're doing that's more than just footwear, accessories, and gear, make sure to enter in code AMV Network for a 25% off discount on us.